We have just found one of the ships that rescue refugees from the dangers of these deceptively calm waters. But they don't want to see us, even on World Refugee Day. They heard below deck 53 African migrants they just rescued. Some European governments say these ships are in league with the human traffickers each migrant has paid. Many of these ships have been impounded and their crews dispersed when they dock. Even on World Refugee Day, they turn us away. Back on Lampedusa, other refugees have just turned up. They arrived in small boats. Now in police custody, they are headed for the reception center for detention. It's uncertain whether this group will be held while seeking asylum, transferred to detention camps on the mainland, or be sent back. But even though they don't know where they are going, they sense it is better than where they've been. Ayub is ready. It's time for him to sneak away from the detention camp. He takes nothing to call attention to himself and heads towards a familiar route to both refugees and locals. He expects to be shaken down.
And then maybe they're coming from center, they have home in center because they're coming and stopping people here and they take our money and mobile, everything.
And do they have some weapons?
Yes, knife.
This was where some of the ambushes happened.
Just walking, I will show you his place because it's very dangerous.
The town of Bihać is in view just beyond the hill. Some refugees get extra supplies there and come back to camp. Ayub is different. He wants out.
Do you still think you will be catched?
I don't think, but I think they will catch us near of center. Here maybe until 1-2 kilometers more, no problem. And we will, if we and you be coming into the near of center, maybe they will catch me.
In town, his plan is to disappear.
Thank you very much. Good luck with your trip.
Thank you so much, sir.
Bye.
Goodbye.
The game is on again.
Okay, thank you.
It is midday on the west coast of the U.S. When he first arrived in Los Angeles, he went to the Jewish Family Services Food Bank for his meals.
Can I get this order, please?
Today, it's his day to volunteer at its kitchen.
I got food for 8 months till we found job. And now that we found jobs, I am working, my wife has a decent job. I am volunteering with the same organization to pack food for those people who can't afford it. And it feels very well, and it keeps me connected to all the refugees and those who are in need.
It's not because of World Refugee Day. It's just something he does. And it puts him in the right spirit for his audition tonight. Around the world, World Refugee Day continues. Catholic priests in Hungary hold a mass to support refugees.
Nem csak a vándorlókról van szó. Itt valójában mindannyiunkról van szó, és az emberségünkről.
It puts the church at odds with Hungary's government, which has taken a strong anti-refugee stance. Baraki Weldai fled Eritrean violence to safety in the Tigray region of Ethiopia. Today, he's at Axum University in training to become a nurse.
ምክንያቱ ዝመፅእ ከም ስደተኛ መጠጥ ዝመጽእ opportunities እንተጠቂምካሉ ብዙሕ ረብሓ እዩ ዘለዎ ክብል እየ ዝደሊ ካብሲል ካብቶም ማዓስከር ኮይንካ ኣነ ስደተኛ እንደ I can't do በቃ ዝኾነ ነገርስ ክሰርሕ ኣይክእልኒ ትብል እንተጠቂምካ በቃ ዲፊካልቲ ዋላ እውን ኣብ ሂወትካ እውን ከቢድ እዩ ስለዚ ንሕና ከም ኤርትራውያን ወይ ከም ረፊጅ በቃ ረፊጅ ኮይና ኢና ክንሰርሕ ኣይንኽእል ኢና ክንመሃር ኣይንኽእል ኢና ዝበለ ተሓሳስባ ካብ ርእስና ክነውፃ ክንክእል ኣለና በቃ we can do everything በቃ ዝከልክለና ነገርስ የለን
He's optimistic about his future and says leaving home was the right choice. No word from immigration, so Yamis takes her sister for a walk.
My name is. English. My name is.
In Mexico, they stand out. The people are welcoming, and she's a regular customer. She doesn't seem worried about how long they'll be here or what comes next, but she does have dreams. She likes the feel of our camera.
¿Te gustaría ser periodista o ser fotógrafo o algo?
Fotógrafa. Ay, eso sí me gustó, ¿eh?
Her Spanish is good, and she has a big personality. If not in the U.S., maybe she has a future in photography in Mexico. There is no doctor in this part of the sprawling Dadaab refugee camp in Kenya, so the local pharmacist fills in.
shaqadii haddeeraan imaaday waana mashquul zaa'id ah marka insha allahu tacaala shaqaalihiina waxay aadeen dabaaldegii 20 June 2019
With more than 250,000 refugees here, there's plenty of need. Himself a refugee, he's proud to help. On another side of the camp, Niamuch hopes World Refugee Day brings a sale. She has big dreams for her art.
So as much as I have the talent and I might have the materials, market initiative.
That is, unless you count selling to others in the refugee camp. This Syrian refugee is exhibiting today in an art show.
ولكن لما جينا على الأردن هنا وصارت صار الحرب والدمار بسوريا صار عندنا قضية بهمنا نوصل رسالة للعالم ورسالة حب وسلام إنه عدم القتل وعدم وقف سيل الدماء بكل بلد فيها حرب.
He cuts up refugee tents and paints on them, a marketing angle that impresses art collectors. Not far away, the High Commissioner for Refugees is at a reception for would-be donors to refugee causes. There are many hands to shake and people to thank.
Hopefully one day we can have solutions for all these refugees. And for the Syrian refugees, really I hope that the solution will be safe, dignified, voluntary return to their homes in their country, which is what most of them want eventually to do when it is safe to do so.
The reception and the day are winding down. Filippo Grandi heads to his hotel. In his part of the world, World Refugee Day is over. The head of Bangladesh's refugee agency is also heading back home. It's been a long day for Mohammed Kalam, and when he gets back to his office, he will still have other meetings tonight. Bangladesh is conflicted about housing the Rohingya. Even with foreign donors financing the cost of operating the camp, it takes a lot of the government's attention. At some point, the needs of Bangladesh citizens and the needs of the Rohingya may be in conflict. There is much for him to think about at the end of World Refugee Day.
Stiamo lavorando giorno e notte coi nostri
He takes to Facebook on World Refugee Day, then heads to an event with Italy's police academy. Italy's Deputy Prime Minister and Interior Minister, Matteo Salvini, has built his career and a substantial following by trying to close Italian ports to refugee ships and making it easier to deport refugees and migrants. Salvini says immigration without limits will bankrupt his country. On World Refugee Day, however, his focus is lowering taxes to grow Italy's economy.
opere pubbliche e taglio delle tasse. Altre ricette non ce ne sono.
Meeting with government ministers, he talks about making life better for Italians. Like populist leaders in other countries, his initiatives resonate with citizens who believe that politicians are too quick to share scarce resources with newcomers that they would say have no right to be here. In Calais, we made it back from the jungle in time for the migrants' press conference.
As I am from Sudan, I have been witness a lot.
They complain about their treatment by French police, who they say unfairly harassed them.
There was unfair fights.
The event is put on by the migrants themselves. No other news cameras are there. As the sun sets, many in the camp are still outside. But inside his makeshift home, Omar perks up at the sound of a new toy. His parents are quiet. The thought of life-saving surgery is one of the many uncertainties ahead for these refugees. Another uncertainty is their status. Even if Omar's condition is cured, with Myanmar still discriminating against Rohingya, he is likely to remain a refugee here.
We are in a bit of a rush because a little one here, we couldn't find him. I think he was just having fun with his friends, and we're trying to catch right now the 6 o'clock bus.
It is unclear if Juan Antonio realizes what it is taking to get him to the bus on time, or even if he's grateful. Learning English is something he'll do later. Back in Colombia, it is night. The Venezuela refugees move to the plaza, where they compete with rival dance groups from Colombia for serious money from tourists. This night, not a lot of money. But he says that's not the only reason he does it.
Pero también no es solo por dinero, sino por pasión, porque te gusta, ¿entiendes?
There are always competitors, and this is something you do only when you are young and healthy. If injured, what does the future hold for a refugee? At nighttime in California, Jay auditions for a job as a narrator.
It's just beginning again at the international dateline and around the world at the dawn of a new day.
For the test, he uses lines he performed in a play a year earlier. It quotes the English playwright William Shakespeare, who lived 400 years ago. Jay uses lines written back then that he says are appropriate on World Refugee Day.
You'll put down strangers, kill them, cut their throats, possess their houses. Whither would you go?
Mounds on a parched hillside. This refugee camp, Kakuma, is one of the world's oldest, in continuous operation since 1992. This is its cemetery. Babies born here are likely to die here. On World Refugee Day, there are no visitors and no signs of who these refugees were or what they had hoped to become. Juan has made it to the bus station just in time. Back at Casa Alitas, a migrant from Guatemala takes his place.
Allá no tengo quien me ayude, no tengo, mi mamá falleció, el papá de la niña nos abandonó, pues allá no está nada bien, allá trabaja uno, porque trataron de secuestrarme a la niña y pues no quiero que me la quiten, es única que tengo.
I see very brave people. I see people who are showing us an example of how you should live, that if you know that there's something you can do to protect your family better, that you will do it.
Significa algo muy especial. Mi hija es el único motivo para seguir viviendo y pues no quiero que le pase nada malo.
For most refugees, migrants, and displaced people, their lives today were much like yesterday and will likely be the same tomorrow. What also will continue, the belief of the people we met that they can successfully make it to safety no matter what the odds.
I still remember leaving the border through the Congo River. It was just a day that not only, as I got older, I realized that it actually kind of traumatized me. It was like the best and most traumatizing day of my life at the same time. Because had that day not happened and things not worked out, there's no telling, how life could have rolled out for me.
Entonces ese es mi propósito, digo, si ya Dios me tiene hasta acá, pues cumplir mis sueños y ayudar a salir adelante con mi familia.
They understand what you have to do to sacrifice everything for your family, or to come ahead to this country and try to be able to put some money together and send it back to the people who remain.
It's difficult always to be uprooted. And you go to a different country, it doesn't matter if it's heaven or not, but it's not your country.
No, I don't want to go through again this refugee life.
Lo que quiero es tratar de proteger a mi hija y pues yo pienso que acá vamos a estar mejor.
At the end of this World Refugee Day, there are happy endings for some. Fadia and Montasser, husband and wife from Iraq, are minutes away from being sworn in as U.S. citizens in a ceremony in Portland, Oregon. But first, the presiding official must wrestle with proper pronunciation.
That's right. Yes.
She rolls her eyes. Here in the northwest part of the United States, there aren't a lot of people from there. The ceremony starts with the American national anthem. For them and the others, the words are still a little unfamiliar.
If you'll please raise your right hands.
But I love my country. It's Iraq, and I love my country. Second country is America.
So help me God. Congratulations, you're now U.S. citizens.
I know it's not easy to leave my family. It's not. It's a big change. It's new people, new country. It's new life, new food, big change. But I'm happy for my kids to give them a good future.
Ultimately, World Refugee Day is ceremonial. It is one of many days on official calendars put out by organizations devoted to issues that, all too often, are in the shadows. Today, it recognized 70 million men, women, and children who have fled their homes in search of another, some out of fear and some in search of something better. But at the stroke of midnight, World Refugee Day ends. And refugees return to the shadows once more.
Whoa, 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 well, I was never taught how to love someone like you, and I have always fought to be loved till I met you. I'm just learning to love through the good and the bad, learning to love through the right and the wrong, learning to love you, it drives me insane, but I wouldn't want it any other way. Never taught how to love someone like you, and I have always fought to be loved until I met you. I'm just learning to love through the good and the bad, learning to love through the right and the wrong, 'cause learning to love you, it drives me insane, but I wouldn't want any other way. Whoa, 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 ooh. If we will find a way to fill up these hearts, I know things will change. Not how much I love you, how I have felt from the start. I'm just learning to love through the good and the bad, learning to love through the right and the wrong. Just learning to love you, it drives me insane, but I wouldn't want it any other way.
Ron Botonguez.